All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready. Hang tight. Crew is locked and loaded. We got a game tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. That's an old video. That's an old video. Not ready. Hold tight. All right, let's try that again. We've got a nice matchup here tonight. We've got ABS Vile versus '07 Black. And your starting rosters tonight for '07 Black is going to be Zuni, Safari, Common Sense, and Beams. '07 Black in the house. And their opponent waiting in the corner is going to be ABS Vile with Aura, Khan, Bops, and Rezer. And tonight, I have a very special crew with me. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Are you ready? I've got the one, the only, Hyper and Scav. What up, you guys?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It can't really kick things up or take anything to a higher notch, to a higher place of energy after that introduction, Tricky. We truly appreciate hearing that from the one and yes, appreciate the one and only referring to us, but the true one and only Tricky. Appreciate that introduction. But yeah, I'm so happy to be at the desk yet again with Hyperactive today on this Tuesday night, watching these two teams battle it out. And what we have heard is considered a grudge match this evening.
Always love a good grudge match when there's a little bit of toxicity thrown around and it just ends up boiling back on itself. It means both sides are gonna go all out and beyond. They're gonna leave nothing on the table. It's gonna be gobbled up. So I'm looking forward, and I'll tell you what, you got to do it on the most variety of a map pool than we can get. And
Oh, this
that
is amazing.
I don't think you're ready for this. I don't think you're all ready for this.
I don't think we've ever seen this in the history of COD, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, is it not? I see it. It was 3 volts to our knowledge. 3
Yes.
volts to kick things off, and it's okay. A minute, it's somewhere in here.
Yeah, so we're gonna start things off on a vault hardpoint, vault search and destroy, and a vault control to end things off this evening. It's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be an incredibly diverse one, Hyper.
It will be, and then Skyline and Red Card, according to the chat. I don't know if this beautiful graphic is fully correct, but I tell you what, either way, even if we did get the graphic or we get what I'm reading here, it is going to be interesting, especially as we're starting things off on a map that everyone knows. Everyone knows how to play Vault. Everyone knows where to rotate.
It's the OG.
It's the OG. It's the greatest. It's the best. And it's one that will go down in history.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Hyper. 3 vaults in a row is something I never thought I'd see in my casting career for Black Ops 6. Nonetheless, we are here, so it isn't going to be a question of switching around the maps. If you have a poor performance on hardpoint for any of the two teams, you gotta hope that it has to do with the mechanics and not necessarily the map itself. But something tells me the vetoes went through, and at the end of the day, both teams sort of collectively decided on this matchup. But yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Hyper. Vault is probably one of the most diverse map sets you can get for a hard point. I mean, if you look at maps like Skyline, very heavy with the CQB style coverage, there aren't really any money hills that are incredibly prevalent to look out for. And there isn't as much room for ARs as we see with the Jackals, really being the stars of the show. But you take it to Vault, there are plenty of opportunities for both styles of players to come to shine, to come into fruition. And there also is a pretty obvious money hill as well on the map. So with that being said, Vault is a fantastic hardpoint to kick things off. And just, what a great match to kick things off again with these two bulldogs of the teams that are just going at it for each other at a big barking match here on the mainstream.
Well, let's talk about Vault in much more detail. You said about the obvious money hill for those who are new and fresh to Call of Duty. First of all, welcome. Thank you for choosing us. Love to be your host. Second of all, it is going to be P4. It is the 4th rotation of the site. It is where we're going to see a lot of points being gained for one team. However, throwaway points are, of course, 1 and 3. We don't see much time get taken on these hills, especially off the get-go when you attack P1, quite even 50-50. But P3, we see a lot of fighting for the arc control. We see a lot of fighting on the left side of the map to try and get that positioning, so you're set up to go to that money hill of P4. So that's something you have to be mindful, is thinking, like, as you say, Scav, a nice little chess game, thinking one step ahead. How can we outsmart our opponent here and be able to get that rotation faster and more secured?
Yeah, I mean, it is all about, it's a game of rotations. It's a game of spawns too, Vault. One of its shortcomings, some people might argue, I wouldn't argue it, but I've heard a lot of people do, especially when we move on over into a control. A shortcoming is those spawns. So if you're able to know what those spawns are and you're able to adjust yourself promptly to those spawns in your favor at the very least, especially with those P2 spawns, which for Safari over at 07, they will have the upper hand to kick things off here. You are looking for a pretty good rotation over to P2. But enough of us talking. Off to the races, these fine gentlemen go. Hyper and on to P1. 07 will win the initial gunfights to sit.
To win it, and in doing so force Abes back up into their spawns, have to reset themselves early on. But it's an early gunfight. This is just preliminary positioning, but you can see already Abes wanting to push forward. They're wanting to try and split these spawns to go to P2, which is where number 2 of Suni is spawning from. And at the moment, 07 Black is just locking this down.
Yeah, they're locking it down, doing a fantastic job of doing it. Suni picking up the pace here, not able to find the last, but his teammate Beams with the kill with the nade and ultimately deny last few seconds of scraps to go through. Rezor completely shut down as a new point has opened, but ABS has done a decent job now of their map positioning, spread themselves out around the map. Bob's finding one through rotation off Suni, so there goes one wall. Common sense, the second will also fall. Bob's gets the third from the Jacuzzi. No, not able to do it. All that work, Hyper, that has just been put through from ABS to get that map positioning back has gone sort of to vain, as 07 still reigns very clearly on this P2.
They will hold that P2, and now you've got an all-4 pushing in, and Aura will get more Aura onto the 1, 2, 3, 4. Good night, sweet moon. All gone and done and dusted.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful break from ABS. If you're, a big fan of them, you would want to have seen that a little earlier, but nonetheless, no time for 07 is good time if you're talking about ABS. And now off rotation, here we go. Rizzer was kind of shut down from his rotation from P1 to P2. This time he won't be. He'll be the one shutting other people down. Soon he finding one off rotation. Not sure how effective that will be, but a two-piece certainly will. And now, calm before the storm. A couple of seconds here. Hyper, what I was saying earlier, the Amez looking alive here from top art. The far, a couple of warning taps, and his teammates picking it up the pace as well. But if you don't watch your back, Khan will be the one right behind you and get one and the second to open things up nicely for ABS.
ABS have really stepped things up. A little bit of a slow start. P1 didn't work out the way they wanted. Going into that early P2 just fell apart, but able to find a little bit of that second half. Now we're going to P3. They've able to get their footsteps right there and find their positioning, and in doing so, Art Control massively and heavily favoring them right now. And this is going to be huge if they can hold this down, lock it down, and not allow Beams to get in, and in doing so, take him out, no problem indeed, and they could set their eyes onto P4 and start locking down the money hill.
Yeah, here it comes right now. You want to take out the bags and get ready for the money hill as you fill up the bags with the money that this hill will produce. Metaphorically, those points on the board is what I'm referring to. Now, Reza's going to be the one anchoring onto the point. And you see a great line of gray from 07 trying to march forward. Tooney, getting that ball rolling, the pendulum over to his side. Unfortunately, will get traded out. Khan finding a two-piece, completely shutting things down. But Beams, if he wins this gunfight, it won't look too good, but he won't. Unfortunately, choking the 1v1 will not be a good outcome for 07 because now they've lost any sort of hope on an early retake onto this objective. And without spawns in their favor, Suni will get absolutely slammed to the ground. Nade kill as well, the cherry on top for ABS, and they are just frying right now, Hyper.
They are, but as we said, money hills are money hills. It's almost impossible to break. Very narrow and tight choke points to push through. So no surprise 07 having to concede this point for the last 10 seconds. Try and set themselves up well onto P1 and then not over-aggress because it's so easy to get forward, to sit yourself in that forward position. But in doing so, they didn't have any cover south. They had one player there, got taken out, and look at this. Immediately ABS flipping the spawns, flipping the table, and saying this is our P2 that we're looking forward to.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, not only just flipping those spawns, but a fantastic chef's kiss rotation from P4 over to P1. And like you said, yeah, you can say that ABS getting a lot of that scrap time from the last hill could very well have just been the fact that it's a money hill, but now this rotation over is showing that ABS is capable of doing more than that. Yes, the last 20 seconds of time, but they're still frying within their own spawns and really just parking that ship, putting the anchor down and just staying there and not letting ABS or 07 Black get farther and farther to the point where they flip those spawns.
It's going to be a battle for spawns here. As you can see, 07 coming from the rear, but Rezo holding it down nicely, not allowing anyone to go through too easily. But now you've got to be looking from behind because 07 Black will start their entry on to the point. Box inside the tub, gets a little dip, says thank you very much. I'm feeling way more relaxed here. Can he find the second? He might not be able to get it, but Rezo coming in clutch with 3 says thank you very much.
On.
Nothing that 07 can do, even with the spawns.
Yeah, Khan especially. A fantastic job of picking up whatever his teammate Resort was able to miss, but quickly, 07 able to bounce back for a little bit, but that's not before they lose spawns to their names. We had the spawns, weren't able to break with the spawns, then they lose the spawns, get the break, and ABS gets theirs back. So now a rotation goes through, or a finding one-off rotation. Khan get in the second. And things are all looking too red in the feed, red on the board. And as of right now, for Vault map number 1, red for ABS.
It is for now, but it matters here. How does the P3 unfold after the 30 seconds have gone through? That's where I'm looking the most. Right now, 07, yes, they can claim some points here. They can claim some decent time. That's not their concern nor priority here. They're wanting to flip these spawns. They're wanting to get their players to roam around the map, but there's just no room. And you can see ABS just positioning themselves well. One inside of P1. They will jump down into Vault. They will then move around, and it becomes an impossible task for 07 to get up into Arts. And in doing so, it's just control, control, control. And ABS, P4 and Money Hill once again for them.
Well, if you're ABS, you better pray that you actually are able to retain control of this Money Hill, because you have just lost over 25 seconds of the last objective to 07, just to make sure that you kept that positioning for the next hill rotation. So here it is. 07 did a decent job of holding that last hill, but Beams, the first one in. Can you find the second? No. Ring around the rosy. Unfortunately, the game will favor Khan in that 1v1. That was crucial to be won. Bops, a couple of hits here and there, doing a great job of just overall positioning himself to not be pinched by 07, getting a little, you know, tips here and there, and just being overall incredibly stubborn to take off the point. Voila, wonderful hold from ABS, especially when they've been put over such pressure from 07.
Brilliant hold from ABS as they go to near perfection here. A couple of seconds taken away, so I can't say perfect, but just a little pointer. Con pulled out a 7-piece in that attack that came through, so I think he's just shy of a Hellstorm, but he definitely put in the pace, put in the moneymaker, and now at 200, ABS on that home straight.
So from here on out for 07, they got to be perfect. They got to be absolutely flawless. Anything that wasn't working, you got to somehow find it, destroy it, and keep moving on. And as of right now, this time on the hill is doing just that. But you see the red arrows just start to slowly close in. Khan finding one, Rexor the second off objective, or make that a third. Safari, a little disruption in the kill feed, but not enough, because ABS, yet another hyper retake onto P1. They're frying, they're getting every spot they need to be at, and now 07 have spawns in their favor, and they're even here now fighting for scraps. A little frightened, you can tell, of pushing too far, because they know how important this P2 will be. It is very well looking like it could be the deciding factor for this map if 07 doesn't stay perfect from here on out.
Yeah, it's a big ask, over 100 points to claim here. You have to be perfect in the most literal sense, but just when you think it was going well, you could see Connor able to make the break onto point. Now he's starting that clock. Only 15 seconds left for ABS to take map 1. And 07 will pause it for a moment, only for a moment, as the break will come through, something that ABS had brilliant at doing. 10 seconds left, and this looks to be done and dusted.
Yeah, it could be done and dusted. Might as well grab the broom ABS and just keep on sweeping along in the hill, because that is it. That is history. Map number 1 going very... Okay, never mind. I was about to call it out, but yeah, 07, I tip my cap to you, kind of making me eat my words there, but nonetheless... Oh, ABS might have lost the hill, but they've just done such a darn good job, Hyper, of making that cushioning possible. And already Khan just waiting to just tap his foot on the objective to end the game. He will. Safari will find one. Reservoir will trade him out in the process. So just a stubborn 07 not being put to rest, being with a nasty turn on, baby. Oh, yeah. Love to see that. Despite the deficit in the scoreline, 07 is not going to go out without kicking, screaming, throwing a couple of punches back and forth. And ABS, what is going on This is incredible right now from 07. I mean, if you're a fan, though, you just wish this happened a little earlier.
Wait, are we actually going to receive the miracle that comes through? A jumps on point. There's the second. The contest came in at the last millisecond, but it wasn't enough. Holy, I genuinely for a moment started to believe that a comeback was possible at 249 and that we were going to see this go all the way. I genuinely started to believe, but a massive deficit, and it does bode the question, where was that performance from 07? Where was that fire we were expecting, the grudge? It just wasn't there.
Tell you what was there, though. Aura, Bobs, Khan, everybody on the side of ABS, but specifically those three, absolutely frying on the objectives, while Reservoir, yeah, he went neutral, but he got the most time in the lobby, 1 minute and 55 seconds to his name. And talk about someone who practices good trigger discipline, trusting in his teammates to execute on the kills and the openings to allow him to just park the bus, as you say, Hyper, and get that much needed time at the very bittersweet end. But for 07, yeah, very rough performance from them throughout the entirety of that map. Up until the end is really when we start to see what we're hoping what we would have liked to see 07 play for the rest of the map. But for ABS, I will also say a little concerning there at the end. You want to make sure that hopefully, for them, it's good that they had so much cushioning to their name. But in the future, scoreline's close enough, that's going to bite you in the butt.
Yeah, and what makes matters worse is the ability of the ability that we saw ABS was able to rotate. Off the get-go, shady, but you know what? When you start things off and start off a match, it never is perfect. Unless you are, a landslide game that usually is about 200-point difference.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the start always is a toss-up, 50-50. You never know how it's going to go, who's going to get that first point. And you saw 07 kick things off really well. But then as ABS started to turn those gears, started to feel comfortable in the map once again, that's when their rotation patterns, their fluidity to transfer from one to the other started to kick in, able to pick off that odd one player. And it was one player to disrupt the 07 rotation to come through. And particularly across key areas from 2 to 3 was where they really had that rotation on lock. And then, of course, 3 to 4 is piss easy, so there's not really much to break down on that. But I tell you what, this variety is going to get even more dramatic. We're going to a vault search and destroy, so no scratching your heads on the map itself, but just a completely different game mode we're going into.
Yeah, I mean, a different game mode, and hopefully, luckily for 07, it's not going to be involving the respawns, which is clearly what ABS has been able to dominate in that hardpoint. Those respawns, that map positioning, and those spawns in their favor when they need them. So search and destroy, not much of that happening. You play for picks. You play the waiting game, but at the very right moment, the perfect moment, 07, that's when you strike. Don't play aggressive coming in here. Get that nice A-bomb plant if you can, and then just play the waiting game from there. You want to get an early lead if you possibly can in this search.
3-3, a pick off both sides, bombs down on A. You have to be perfect when you break into it. Aura, +10 for him, as he will go and get an extra kill for himself, dropping down as Reza. He will find one, Bops gets another, and perfect. Honestly, pick the individuals, take it one at a time, done and dusted.
What a beautiful execution from ABS. I mean, you get one from that, mid crossover in vault, and you cause a distraction from sit and bomb, from 07, just sit and bomb, and then boom, right from pool, Bops going through, taking advantage of that distraction to the point where, wow, yeah, maybe 1 or 2 bullets was shot by 07. That's how quick and easy ABS made that retake look. And you gotta hit those shots if you're Safari. I mean, you're anticipating that drop down from P1 and it happened. You cannot miss those shots because that unfortunately will set you up for failure. But a new round, this time the ball is in the court of ABS. Whether or not if they'll swoosh it with a 3 is a question to be answered. But they'll go for the A despite the confidence boost.
Go Steph Curry this. Put a 3 in and get it done and dusted, but immediately 07 again down alive, but in doing so, quick turnaround. does not go into their favor. ABS now with the common advantage. And talking of common, it's common sense. Maybe need a little more than common sense, though. Apparently, it doesn't come naturally to others. 26 seconds left on the clock. Jumps down. Can't find anything.
Yeah, see, that's what Safari should have been doing in round one. Just, was watching that drop down from P1 and absolutely frying if anyone challenged from there, as we saw from Resor. Yeah, just kind of anticipating that and immediately shooting as soon as he comes down. Almost lost the gunfight in the process, but a fantastic job of sort of just bunny hopping, getting that headshot in the process, and 4-0 to his name, as we saw with the KD. So you can see ABS feeling on fire right now.
Round number 3. Let's get this one going. And are we going to see a change up to be or not to be? That is the question we have to ask. Well, not to be. It's going to be the usual A plant going in. Quick aggression inside of the vault. We'll find one nade and a jackal kill. And in doing so, tying things up very nicely. Bomb still not down just yet. And
No.
maybe to be? Question mark?
Yeah, B's wide open right now for 07, so it'd be a great opportunity for them to do so, but they got to do it right now because eventually ABS will get suspicious as Aura, doing it right now, and I don't think he sees. Yes, he does now, but away he escapes with his life. Beams getting that bomb plan not successfully down. A 2v3 situation. Beautiful call out here from Resor, and Common Sense finding one from top. Huge map positioning. Aura and Bobs will sit at the respawn screen, but Resor doing a fantastic job of picking up a trade quickly while he's still weak. 1v1 situation. Time is ticking, and it's at the advantage for ABS. So here comes the bomb plan going through. I don't know if Resor saw Common Sense there, but the bomb plan is going through. He did not see him. So now the change of pace has happened. And Resor's got to be really careful. Common Sense 1v1 situation. If you're able to win it, you'll look pretty darn good on the mainstream, and he does. 07 answering back with a point of their own.
Lovely advantage for 07 to get that one in. Played his time. He did get the information on Resor, but opted not to go for the chow, commit to that bomb plan, make sure that you have that advantage on your side if things go wrong.
Yeah, that was a good choice.
Honestly, Resor just didn't fully commit to that first kill. He got the tags in, ducked behind, and then waffled the aim is the honest answer. It was a waffle.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I thought he was going to win that, like, wholeheartedly. Because if you go back and you kind of see that replay, Common wasn't even looking in his area at all, and Resor shot first as well. So at the end of the day, it's sort of let's kick rocks. But here we go. Another A-plant attempt will go through. Bobson, whoa, Khan getting 3 to his name. Hello. And Common Sense finding one, not able to find the second. And just like that, before we can even finish our analysis of a past round, ABS is going to take their feet off the desk. Leaning forward a little bit in their chairs, keep things in the 4-wheel drive, if you will. But Khan specifically, I mean, laying it out like dominoes. 07, not able to do much at all that round.
Not much. Unfortunately, when you come to the crosshair of Khan, who can just spray you down very quickly, it's unfortunate, but it's not to be deterred. They still have a mindset of, we can take this, we can do this. They've got the strategy correctly. It's just the execution can be a bit sloppy, as there's always an alternative angle for Ames, and they will say thank you very much. Full control on that A site and bomb down in a horrible position.
Oh yeah, it is not a position you want to be in right now, and Common Sense will be in one. Nice headshot. Scary one. I don't think he would have gotten the kill if he didn't get the headshot. So bravo from Common Sense. He's stepping things up today in this game. And now you see the switcheroo. B is being anticipated by ABS. And unfortunately for 07, they're also going to make somewhat of a rotation over there. And now from bottom vault, Beams. See little Tootsies out, Hyper. There they are. The Tootsies are out. The shots go in. I don't know how I feel about that trigger discipline there, Hyper.
You could use the shots to really push them away.
Whoa!
But in doing so, Beans! That's the way you want to finish it off. Make sure you got the control. But I was going to say, yeah, 100% shooting could give away your position. But at the same time, it forces the players back exactly like this. And Beams does exactly what his name says.
You were saying earlier you can use the shooting at the Tootsies strategy to repel players back, or you can just use beams. Like beams, dinner, go down, take care of business, cook for our team, and he's exactly what he did. Just pushes right through, gets a 2-piece. And I'm sure he didn't even anticipate there being another player there for ABS. He's like, oh god, there's 2 of you. All right, let me just take care of business here. But here we go. The annual or the roundly stuns will go through. This time, Suni will get the last laugh for 07. And now we see them looking alive a little bit, but they still are down a 2v3, Hyper.
It always seems to be in the negative situation. 07 find themselves. Early picks have always gone to ABS, able to just find the fast aggression, and that's so unfortunate. Con getting away with his life, but Safari able to find Bops, and that's going to be able to bring it back to even. Safari finds a second. Can he get away with his life? He does so. And now if you're Aura, you got to be anything but positive Aura here.
Here we go. The first engagement goes through. A couple of shots here and there. Running back. I don't know if that's a smart decision. Aura finding one. Not a scratch on his face. Meanwhile, Beams left struggling here. But last round, Hyper, you said ABS put the bomb in an awkward position for 07. Now the tide has changed onto A. Here we go. A couple of shots here and there. Aura getting a little taps here and there. It's ring around the Rosie. And there it is. Oh, ABS giving 07 a taste of their own darn medicine, Hyper. And I'm sorry, there's no excuse to have lost that if you're 07. You had all the cards in your favor. You just couldn't hit those shots. And Aura, nearly 100% accuracy throughout all of those engagements late round.
100% Aura. Love that. Sorry, I just made a joke out of a very loose joke you made, but
yeah, nonetheless, kind of sad to be quite honest with you.
Negative Aura for me. I don't do good with Gen Z slang or Gen Alpha slang. I might as well just pass, but nonetheless, off to the races they go, and immediately 07 stepping up the plate. They got the first blood and got the whole thing sorted. Good mid-map control, had Cap covered. Nothing that ABS could do.
Yeah. I mean, you said earlier the Gen Z jokes weren't your thing, but I'll tell you what was 07's thing. That fantastic answer to that incredibly embarrassing round that they just had up against ABS. So 07 proving to the crowd, the viewers at home, that they can play for strategy, as they have accumulated some wins doing, but they can also play that sudden aggression that I was talking about earlier, knowing when it's a good time to play conservatively versus pounce at those right moments, at those right sites, at those right call-outs to equate to a 3-4 in Surge. But this time around, Hyper, Con getting the first kill. That B plant exercise will go through. Bob's finding one, watching his own spawn, common sense. And now in his own spawn, he lurks.
4v2. Difficult to retail as you can get pick by pick.
Flawless.
Not gonna happen. It's hard. It's hard when you're in a deficit like that, because the objective at that point is to draw out players individually, play those one-on-one engagements, and trust that your mechanical skills will outdo your opponent and have the upper hand of the surprise. But unfortunately, ABS just aren't too alert right now. 5-3 map point. And they can start taking a 2-0 lead if they can claim this. Well, it's not over till the whistle is blown.
Mm-hmm. There we go. 07's proven to the world that they can do it. They have rounds on the board. This isn't a complete blowout of a search and destroy. So they just gotta make sure that they kind of ease their way into this pressure and rise up to the occasion. But here we go. Here comes a flank from ABS. Aura not finding the first engagement. That's crucial, because that would have exposed Pool completely. So it's a huge kill for Suni. Love to see that. Razor, nobody's home. And 07 just sort of completely funneling themselves in that objective that could very well be a high-risk, high-reward situation. As Razor, not much information from the nade, a couple of taps here and there. I think they know that there's at least 2 in there. Here comes the nades, and it will pay off from Beams. Lovely strategy. 7.5 to defuse. Common sense finding the third, and now the fourth. 07 answering to their own 1-2-3 inning. Not a scratch. All 4 alive left over as the bomb kept ticking over to B. Or A, excuse me.
it's a very difficult position to find yourself in. Simply when everyone's just piled up on this site, and this is a site that I do hate. A is just not practical. I don't see it as a viable source because you got 2 entry points and they're both choke points as well. I don't like it, but it's great to defend on. You can just situate yourself in, buddy up in there, and it requires mechanical skill to win. There's no strategy going into it, and especially when a trophy is down. This is why 100% ABS quickly gets that bomb down. Guess what? They're gonna stack everybody in here.
Oh my
no one's
gosh.
getting in. It's down to beams, and
Oh, we got a
already
rage quit.
with teammates leaving. They don't trust beams to 1v4 clutch this.
This will be a clutch of a lifetime, Hyper. Great trigger discipline. He's only got one weapon to do it. He gets a couple of taps here and there, and now the floodgates have opened from ABS. And just like that, 4-6 ABS series point. And I love this search, Hyper. This was so much fun to watch because there were you know, there was maybe 1 or 2 rounds where it was like a 2v3 or a 2v2 situation, and things started to get to that point where they started to go to late round, but either 07 completely kicked down the door and dominated ABS, or vice versa. I mean, there wasn't really a round we didn't see either or happen, so this was a really fun search and destroy, but arguably for 07 fans, not so much, unfortunately. Down 2 rounds, but hey, definitely a much better map than we saw on the hard point.
100% a lot closer. We're definitely seeing 07 step up and continuously apply that pressure, but I saw a little bit of the grudge match start to kick in, but I wouldn't even, I honestly, I don't feel it is a true grudge match yet. So if you're watching this, guys, like, come on. I thought you got feud with each other. This seems like all too one-sided right now.
Yeah, I mean, but can it be much of a grudge match if they're... I mean, the search and destroy was incredibly close. I will give you that. This could very well just be 2 teams that are... it's a grudge match until the very end. So once there's a winner, that's when all the talking starts. It's sort of... We're so locked in right now. We're not going to start celebrating prematurely. And we're going to wait until, like you said, the final whistle blows. And that's when we can start jumping out of our chairs and start talking the talk. And that's because they walk the walk. So map number 3 has spawned in for us. And believe it or not, it's going to be a vault yet again. It's going to be under control.
So excited.
Oh, yeah. I am incredibly thrilled, as you can hear from the tone of my voice and the cadence in which I'm talking, to get to another control on Vault. And this is where I said the spawns are really going to come into play, Hyper. I'm telling you. The spawns on Vault, if you're playing defense and you know them, it is incredibly frustrating. The biggest pain in the rear to deal with if you're on the receiving end of those spawn traps.
Oh, this is the spawn trap heaven map. You really can go ham it. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. Modern Warfare 2.
Well, we are playing Black... I mean, in the context of Black Ops 6, right? It is very similar to that spawn trap map. And I was saying, oh, yeah, we don't want to talk... Yeah, we don't want to talk about Fortress. Let's just kind of forget about that.
Fortress is horrible. But yeah, this is definitely one of those maps where if you could definitely put yourself deep into those spawns, it's all good. And immediately, 1, 2, 3, 4...
Look at Bops already. He's already getting ready. Khan's getting his position as well. I mean, they're rotating through P2 and over to that backside P1, and Bob's finding one as well to really just put their foot down and say, look at where we are. Look at what all 3 of you dying off the rip has put you in. And ABS can just play out this waiting game and toy with their prey. But Safari and Common Sense were the first 2 to take the baton and power through the start.
Yeah, and a brilliant breakout as well. So that's going to massively help 07 side as they were finding themselves a good positioning onto this B site. But you need to be careful of Rizzo. He was in the depths to slow things down, but still the progression is going through. This is a risky play from 07 to go for B, but in doing so, it's working. It's 1 tick through. Now can they get the second? That would be huge if they could get the second. They just can't. Or can they?
No,
keeps
they
on
yeah,
going.
no, they will. They'll get the tick hyper. All four off from ABS will allow that third tick to go through. And look at the lives too. I mean, the spawn trap setup that ABS put on '07 would leave you thinking that the deficit would be much larger, but it's not. So a beautiful round so far from '07. I mean, they got B done. They're moving towards A right now, and now the water begins to settle. Suni whipping it onto the point. Aura trying to get those spawn traps back and going again, and Khan helping out as well, sending his own back to the respawn screen.
Now's the hard bit. You've just been wiped. You've just been pushed off. Now you got to work your way back into this. You can't finish off B. So you have to play safe, play this closer side, play the default in a way. With 18 seconds, it's going to be mad dashes starting to come in. You're going to throw strategy out the book, and it's going to be a case of where can I put my foot onto point, of which common sense. Well, with common sense, he is going to go for the one that's nearly done.
Oh, this is big.
1v1 opens it up. You just need to stay alive for
Behind.
another few more seconds.
No.
Pushed off. 14 to go. A's got a little bit of presence onto it, but finally pushed off. Last dive, a last ditch effort. You've got to jump and you've got to commit. 5 seconds to go. It's not going to happen. It's a sea of red in the feed. Job well done.
It's a sea of red in the feed and a sea of Khan absolutely giving him the business hyper in style. Goodness gracious. I mean, you just look at the kill feed there. For every kill ABS had, Khan would get his own kill as well. I guess you could say a reverse trade. I mean, every time his teammate gets a kill, he'll also pick up 1, 2, and 3 towards the end there as well. In common sense, I mean, this was a fantastic play, and it could have been the start of something great had he get that last kill, had he had those reinforcements in time. But ABS doing a great job of cutting off that blood flow to 07B objective. And arguably, the defense and all capacity for control is a lot easier to win. So now in offense, ABS made it look easy on defense. So we'll see what they do here. And they opt for A right off the rip, Hyper.
Play default, play safe than sorry.
3 off.
This isn't a great start indeed. So now you left the box to try and keep things alive, but now you can start to push forward if you're 07. Deja vu I'm feeling here, don't you think? As immediately the pressure comes in. Suni is left alive to try and keep the spawn trap alive, to try and keep all of ABS inside their spawns, but playing smart, forcing ABS to go hunting for the remaining spawn trappers here. And doing so, wasting the clock. This is smart play. Safari also trying to get the time wasting to come through. Finally, it comes through. 45 seconds left. Still plenty of time to claim that first point.
Ops crucial to getting themselves out of that spawn trap. He found 2 from 2 crucial choke points in their own spawn, and as a result, they've been able to break out. And now ABS settling in to the same ABS we saw on that hard point here. I mean, getting all the kills we need to get, rotating perfectly, and now on to B, the 1v1 between beams. It's gonna be one. Thankfully, Safari coming to the rescue, not having beams take that incredibly dangerous chow there. But in the meantime, that distraction with the split strategy hyper that you said was working so great. Rezor finding 1, his teammate finding the second. A has been completed. B has 1 tick. 07 is down in the lives.
And you got to quickly rotate when all 4 are off. You got to make sure you capitalize on the free advantage. 2 goes off from ABS. Then doing so, now there's an opportunity and hope for 07 to regain their stature, and they have. I don't think they realize Reza hiding in the corner. This is still not done. 07's been able to push ABS back slightly, but the keyword is slightly. The presence is still far forward, and with a massive tick advantage, they can look into round 5 with a greater sense of comfort. Beams pushing in, can't get it done.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to be really careful now with 7. They're trying a little too much. You got to remember that you're on defense. Let them come to you. Suni finding 1. Thankfully, he didn't let that life go to waste. He found a little chips here and there from Bobs. Realized he couldn't get the kill and finds his teammate instead. Bobs putting himself onto the objective. Find 1. Rezor finding the second. Time is ticking, but not for very long. Common sense the taste of your own medicine. Aura finding one to shut him down, making an opening over to this B side. Elaine, nades are flying. 5v8 situation. 07 just has to hold on for dear life. Each of them need to get at least one kill and then some to win this round. But from the flanks we see from Rezor on the beams, it won't be successful either. You start to see the crucial stroke points are going through. The gap is starting to close. 27 seconds. 1v6 situation. It'll take more than an ace to get this one done. And just like that, Suni will be left done. The nail in the coffin
ABS.
for this round.
ABS, an attacking round, huge, absolutely huge. This puts them in a prime position to take it home on this next round. We talk about how this map is defensive. The entirety of the control game mode is defensive sided. So you have to make sure you don't allow an offensive round to go through. This is a style of map where it is possible. I wouldn't say it's the easiest. Hacienda, in a way, I say is the easiest to win attacking rounds. Protocol being the hardest of them all, but this is the middle ground where if you can get your strategy unfolded right, if you can get yourself some good art control, not necessarily sitting in art, but just having sight lines covered on art is enough to get that B site covered. And of no surprise, 07 again going to basics. They want to make sure that this is done like a textbook.
Yeah, and so does ABS, but this time they want to make sure that this game is done already. As not a single life has been lost, all 4 of them forced off of the point, and here comes those spawn traps. A very depressing situation right now, and unfortunate for 07. Safari at least doing his job at breaking out of those spawns, but the rest of them kind of stuck there for a little bit. This great wall of red still exists. Safari, you got to stay alive. You're in a good position if you can. And from the top, Khan will make it drop onto Safari as he'll be sent back to those respawn screens. And all 4 of them, yet again, only 2 lives Hyper have been lost from ABS. We're looking at just under a 10 life deficit. 9 lives. 10 lives now, Hyper, for 07.
Well, the best I've seen is a 25 lives for the Victor's side, and that was Vegas Falcons as they spawn trapped their entire way through against Cabal.
Here we go.
But in doing so, now we're seeing ABS finally get some kills against them as 07 step things up. Safari start to get that presence onto B side, trying to divide and conquer, and it's working out all well. 1 tick over to B, that's considered success in my eyes. 1 onto A as well. Second gonna be done. This is a brilliant take if you're 07.
Behind.
Just need to stay alive a little bit longer, but the presence and the force starts to come in. They're able to get it done. Minute added to the clock. Gav, that was confident from 07.
Yeah, it was, and ABS just being a little too overconfident there and not realizing what was going on, and ultimately letting A slip away. But it doesn't matter all too much, Hyper. That spawn trap from the beginning is still, its effects are still being felt throughout the entirety of this mid map. And now Suni being as conservative as possible. Oh, gotta suck when you make yourself known. You're not even able to get a pick off of it. Beams will pick up on the trade, getting the second as well. You only got 1 life there. There it is, Hyper. 3 off, stops. He's the last alive here. All 4, you gotta stack, Hyper. Here it is. Off to the races they go. Off to filling the objective they can. Or the 2-piece. Those Tootsies were out, and he's made to pay. Aura making that opening possible. And there it is. No kills yet. Bob's finding 1. Khan the second. 2v13. And just like that, the rage quit will follow from 07. And ABS will take this round and ultimately take the series. Just a matter of time between these cats are done messing with their prey.
If you're Beebs, you're going to be taking your time, your absolute time here. But no, the knives are coming out. They're going to get it in. ABS, a 3-0 in the feed. They get it done. They get it dusted. They definitely had the control throughout the series. That little feet that were just out in the open.
I know, that's I mean bravo to just knowing Khan specifically, or Aura, I think it was Aura, yeah. Just knowing that was like a, like just being precise in that, being able to seek out, hey, this is a possibility. excuse me, this is a possibility where '07 could be, laying themselves down on and anchoring themselves onto the point. And even with all the nades and the dust and particles from the nades, he still shot right from under that van and shot right through everybody from '07. That two-piece hyper is what made it possible for ABS to close things out in that series.
Yeah, that two-piece massively helped, but there is so many other factors. Just the way that when it came to spawn trapping, we saw how great ABS were able to position themselves forward. We saw that they were very quick to respond and react to different situations when they were being pressured against them onto that B site. They kept one player not too far away, meaning that they could hold the fort and quickly get reinforcements back into play faster. And it's all of this fluidity that we're just seeing from ABS. Is the only word you can describe it. It's one after the other, constantly going consistently with each other. So it's near to perfect in the way that they played today, and it didn't feel like a grudge match. It definitely felt like one team that had ironed it out. But the other team, let's talk about '07. They clearly got something in the bag. They definitely have that mechanical skill to fight. It's just the small little communications, these small little moments that they could iron out that could get these little wins.
The very same thing that you said that ABS had in the bag and the back pocket is what I noticed that '07 unfortunately lacked with the most, and that was just that consistency. Excuse me, when they're able to string a couple of plays here and there. That's sort of exactly the extent of it. It's just here and there. It wasn't really connecting all too much between the three. Between the four guys over at '07, and ultimately as a result, yeah, just a very unfortunate loss for them. But ABS, yeah, the opposite. They're able to make plays and also keep things strung together until the very bittersweet end. And also, I mean, just from a point of pressure, from moments where '07 had squad wiped or done near damn perfect at doing so with 3 off, 4 off. ABS has done a fantastic job of just sort of picking themselves up from the mud and going right back into the fight, which is what you love to see with a good COD team.
Absolutely, definitely, indeed. And of course, more action will always ensue around. And our lovely producer demonstrated the beautiful website as well, because if you want the action, you are more than welcome to join on the next season. Of course, this was the open division, which allows anybody and everybody to play. Only restrictions is you cannot be a pro. I think there
Dang
are some
it.
other restrictions
Oh,
in there.
darn it. I'm eliminated then.
Yeah, shut up. You ain't nowhere near pro level. But of course, there are some other restrictions. Always checks the terms and conditions. But you can see from the lovely website we have displayed above us. And of course, we have the closed division, the elite division, where the selected individuals will get to compete for a higher prize pool against their higher counterparts. So make sure you stay tuned. Every Tuesday, we do try and get some elite showing on this channel. Unfortunately, nothing scheduled for today. But, of course, you're more than welcome to hop along and watch.
Yeah, and it's always fun to see the open leagues anyway as well, because, I mean, you can kind of, you can't, it's not like you're predicting, but you see everything that the elite team is doing. They're always moving with a purpose and a very highly calculated purpose. And with open, they're in the experimental. A lot of them are in the experimental stages of COD and trying out things that don't work and trying out things that do work. A lot of newer players to the scene, and sometimes you start to see these newer players just absolutely pop off, or other times you start to see them not pop off and have some of the worst games of their early career. So it's just a lot of fun to see the open league, because you see that diversity of players and you can really see the characteristics of the team just by watching open. Whereas with elite, it's a lot more structured and you can kind of guess as to how teams will opt to play. So I definitely think it's worth checking out if you guys are interested in seeing it. We have some of the best regardless of the leagues here at ZGL.
Absolutely. And of course, thank you everybody for watching and tuning in for today's match. As we said, every Tuesday we try and get an elite match coming up, but also do check into the ZGL Discord, as that will have more and more matches. Of course, we've got the likes of Corpse, who hops around there and casts a few of the matches as well. So there's definitely
Frenchify as well.
something to that is him as well. There are a load of casters who are dotted around, and if you are a caster as well, talk to us. Get on, have fun. Doesn't matter if you're good, bad, or absolutely terrible. We love a cast in here and there. But thank you very much for watching, and have a splendid night.
Peace.
That's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.